Lin Shutong's words sliced through the air with a chilling finality. Chen Yuan, let's break up. The declaration struck Chen Yuan like a physical blow, leaving him bewildered and stammering. Break up? Shutong, what's wrong? He managed to ask, disbelief warring with sudden fear. When she reiterated her decision with an unfeeling repetition, Chen Yuan, let's break up. His voice hitched with desperation. What's wrong, Tong Tong? He pleaded, grasping for any explanation. Are you playing truth or dare with your roommate? Don't be like this. I take our relationship very seriously. He racked his brain, searching for a fault, for any reason she might be doing this. Is there something I haven't done well? He asked, his voice filled with an earnest, almost desperate sincerity. But I've already been planning our future. In the future, we will have a happy family, 2 lovely children, our own house and car. I will work hard to make all of this come true. His words, a heartfelt blueprint for a shared life, were offered as a desperate plea, utterly failing to sway her resolve. Reeling from Lin Shutong's cutting declaration, Chen Yuan clutched his phone, his fingers flying across the screen as he desperately typed out a message. He apologized profusely for not buying the specific magical water she wanted, promising to save his money and purchase it for her once next month's living expenses came in. His heartfelt offer, however, was met with a stark digital wall. A system notification flashed across his screen, stating that Tong Tong had enabled friend verification. He was no longer her friend and needed to send a request to communicate. The brutal realization that she had not just broken up with him, but had actively cut him off digitally sent a fresh wave of despair through him. A moment later, a different notification popped up, a casual invitation from a friend, Yuanga, to join an online game that needed one more player, followed by a polite, sorry for bothering you. But Chen Yuan's mind was far from games. A single tear traced a path down his cheek, his eye glistening with unshed grief. Is this another breakup? He thought, the painful question echoing in his mind. The bitter truth settled heavily within him. The 6th time this, his internal monologue trailed off, leaving the unspoken history of their tumultuous relationship hanging in the air, each repeated separation tearing at his already fragile heart. Still reeling from the digital cutoff and the crushing realization that this was the 6th time Lin Shutong had broken his heart, Chen Yuan found himself making a public display of his desperation. His reputation as the infamous licking dog was well established, a moniker he'd earned over 3 years of unwavering devotion to Shutong from their very class. Now, amidst curious stares, Shutong murmured, Chen Yuan, don't be like this, everyone is watching. But he couldn't stop. Tears welled in his eyes as he pleaded with Shutong, his voice cracking with emotion. Shutong, I know you're mad at me, he began, holding out a package. I bought your favorite dish, guo bao rou. Forgive me, please, don't bring up the breakup again. I'll change whatever's not good about me. Whispers rippled through the onlookers, one person commenting, I heard he took on 4 part-time jobs just to buy that. Another scoffed, what's the use, he still got dumped. Lin Shutong, however, remained unmoved. Her expression was strangely devoid of anger as she simply stated, Chen Yuan, I'm not angry. Her next words were a final, brutal blow. My ex-boyfriend came to reconcile with me. After thinking about it, I feel like he needs me more. The implication hung heavy in the air, a cruel dismissal of Chen Yuan's profound need for her. Her gaze shifted, her voice then added, Wang. The name lingered, a prelude to what she intended to say next. Lin Shutong's voice, cold and detached, confirmed the crushing blow. Her ex-boyfriend had returned, and she felt he needed her more. The name Wang lingered in the air, a prelude to the true end.
As if on cue, the onlookers erupted, a cacophony of whispers and outraged exclamations. "Scumbag!" someone yelled, the word cutting through the tense atmosphere. Perhaps aimed at the unseen Wang, or at Shu Tong's callousness, or even at Chen Yuan for his unwavering, unrewarded devotion. Murmurs about him forgetting her mingled with other fragmented, angry accusations as the scene descended into a chaotic display of public judgment. Amidst the swirling voices, a sharp, imperative command cut through the din. "Get in!" An urgent plea or order, perhaps from a friend trying to pull Chen Yuan away from the humiliating spectacle, or simply a harsh dismissal from Shu Tong herself. Before Chen Yuan could fully process the chaotic outburst or the command, Lin Shu Tong fixed her gaze on him once more, her expression utterly resolute. "Chen Yuan, let's not meet again. I'm afraid my boyfriend will misunderstand." The finality of her words hung in the air, a definitive severance of their connection. The crowd's voices seemed to fade, replaced by a deafening silence, as Chen Yuan was left utterly alone, the weight of her brutal dismissal pressing down on him, marking the end of his profound, unrequited need.
Reeling from the brutal dismissal, Chen Yuan found himself adrift, his mind caught in a torturous loop of why genuine feelings always met with betrayal. He wrestled with the humiliating question, do I really have to be a licking dog for my whole life? A profound shift began to stir within him, a defiant rejection of that very notion. "What's wrong with being your own person?" he silently demanded, a fierce resolve hardening his gaze. From that moment, a new vow formed. He would no longer be a fawning devotee. Instead, he declared he would become a sea king, charting his own course. Just as this paradigm-altering decision solidified, a distinct ding-dong resonated in his awareness, followed by a sudden, startling notification. The most unique has detected host. Initiated system activation successful. The moment the most unique system activated, a holographic display shimmered into existence before Chen Yuan. His current meager personal wealth of 230 Wuxia currency units starkly contrasted with an astonishing your profit amount 90 trillion Wuxia that materialized beside it, a sum so astronomical it made his head spin. Below, a field for enhancement points lay blank, while a bizarre self-referential question, "Lick Dog System?" appeared, followed by a bewildered, "My cheat?" Chen Yuan's mind reeled. But what is this cheat used for? He wondered aloud, his gaze still fixed on the baffling interface. The system seemed to evolve, replacing the enhancement points with peak transformation points 0, and adding another mind-boggling metric, your interest limit 90 million. He tried to process the sheer scale of the figures, the sudden overwhelming implications of this new power. Before he could delve deeper into the system's mysteries, a sharp, accusatory voice cut through his thoughts. "Hello, you pervert. Have you seen enough of me? Get started?" Chen Yuan flinched, a startled escaping his lips as he was abruptly pulled from his internal contemplation. The woman continued, her tone laced with irritation. "Just now, you've been staring at my chest. It feels uncomfortable on the right side." Chen Yuan's mind was still reeling from the sudden appearance of the 90 trillion Wuxia currency and the bizarre lick dog system prompt, trying to comprehend what any of it meant. As his gaze settled on the woman who had just accused him, the system offered up a detailed profile. Her name was Xu Lei, 21 years old, standing 165 centimeters tall and weighing 49 kilograms, with a striking 7.9 points for looks. Most critically, her affection level toward him was a daunting negative 50 points. The system then outlined a peculiar objective. If Shulele's affection level could be raised to exceed 95 points, a counterattack would be successful, transforming her status into a top-tier master's devoted, or as the system put it, the host's licking dog. A dawning realization began to form in Chen Yuan's mind. He wondered if the incomprehensible sum of 9 trillion displayed earlier was the licking dog money meant for this very purpose. The system confirmed his thought, clarifying that 9 trillion licking dog coins had indeed been deposited onto a special card, but with a unique restriction. It could only be used by women. Moreover, a powerful incentive was tied to this process. Once a woman became his licking dog, 1/10 of whatever she spent from this fund would be rewarded directly back to his account, becoming his private property, with the promise of other rewards also being obtainable. With this extraordinary mechanism now clear, Chen Yuan made an immediate decision. He would try this new power on the girl standing right in front of him.
As the system's peculiar prompt confirmed the licking dog relationship with successfully bound and outlined the mission to counterattack Shulele with its enticing rewards of licking dog coins and enhancement points, Chen Yuan internally resolved to quell her anger by covering her expenses. However, Shulele was not easily placated. Her eyes narrowed, a challenging smirk playing on her lips as she accused him of merely flaunting his wealth, wondering aloud if he truly had the ability to flirt with her in such a manner. From the periphery, hushed whispers could be heard as other students recognized her, identifying her as the formidable Shulele from the art department. They recounted tales of her notorious ability to make men spend significant sums, even 30,000 with just a few sentences, surmising that the guy confronting her was undoubtedly in for a rough time. Unfazed by her taunts or the murmurs, Chen Yuan met her gaze directly, a confident glint in his eye. He challenged her back, asserting that the only way she would know if he possessed the ability she doubted was to simply try him. Seizing the bait, Shulele's expression shifted, her eyes gleaming with a newfound resolve. She announced her intention to treat all their friends in the convenience store that very day, then audaciously asked him if he could help her with the money.
Sulele's smirk widened, her eyes gleaming with the intent to humiliate Chen Yuan. She scoffed at his cheap clothes and his audacity to flirt, promising to show him the meaning of embarrassment. Yet, even as her words hung in the air, a notification confirmed that a staggering 50,000 had been instantly transferred via Alipay. The swiftness of the transaction sent a ripple of disbelief through the surrounding students. Whispers erupted as they grappled with the sight of a seemingly ordinary, even homeless-looking individual transferring such a significant sum without a second thought. "Isn't that just treating money as if it's nothing?" one person murmured, their initial skepticism giving way to a new question. Could this guy actually be a hidden rich second generation? Even Sulele, momentarily taken aback, quickly regained her composure, her gaze sharp as she pondered if 50,000 was truly enough to test his limits. Amidst the growing awe, a bolder female student, visibly impressed, stepped forward. Her curiosity overriding her shyness, she directly asked, "Can I add you on WeChat?" Her words further intensified the collective bewilderment. Others exchanged incredulous glances, one student's internal thought echoing the general sentiment. Am I blind? Is this guy a rich second generation? Sulele observed the dramatic shift in the room's atmosphere, a new expression settling on her face. Her previous arrogance began to waver, replaced by a calculating thoughtfulness, as she conceded internally. Since it's like this, signaling a complete reevaluation of Chen Yuan and her next move. As the initial shock of Chen Yuan's casual transfer of 50,000 yuan began to settle, the bold female student, already having stepped forward, pressed her advantage. "Don't be in a hurry," she began, a confident glint in her eye. "Adding WeChat is also possible." But her approach carried a clear stipulation. "But you have to go somewhere with me." Internally, a mischievous grin spread across her thoughts, her mind already plotting, "Watch how I ruthlessly take advantage of you." Then, as if sensing the unspoken judgment, or perhaps just to maintain a facade, she quickly added,
Just to clarify, I'm not a gold digger. Yet, almost immediately, an unspoken thought from the onlookers, or perhaps a wry internal comment, countered her claim with blunt sarcasm. Definitely you are. Unperturbed, she continued to explain her motives, her gaze earnest. I just want to see your sincerity and attitude.
As the bold student, having just asserted her intent to test his sincerity, fixed her gaze on him, Chen Yuan inwardly acknowledged the immediate intensity of the situation. He found himself utterly unbothered, musing that she was free to pick whatever she liked. His own appetite for such trivial demands was far too small. In fact, he was almost afraid of being metaphorically stuffed to death by her requests. Instead, he saw this moment as perfect timing to use her as an experiment for his licking dog system. Soon after, she led him, as promised, to a high-end store, where she confidently began perusing various items. Without hesitation, she turned to another individual present, holding up a designer bag as she asked, "Brother Jinkai, what do you think about this bag? Does it look good?" The man, startled by her sudden question, or perhaps her unexpected presence, could only utter her name in surprised recognition. Shutong? A figure stepped into what appeared to be a shop, their gaze immediately falling upon a familiar face. A wry comment escaped their lips as they observed the scene. Ex-girlfriend? Looks like I arrived at the wrong time. However, the person they addressed swiftly countered, their voice firm. No, you arrived at the perfect time. Shifting focus from the unexpected personal encounter to a more pressing matter, the newcomer then inquired, "Do you still have the spring collection bag in your store?" The reply was swift, confirming the item's extreme scarcity. Only the last one left, but a crucial detail was immediately added as the speaker gestured towards another customer. "But that lady over there is currently trying it." Chen Yuan stepped into the shop, his sharp gaze immediately registering the scene before him, including the coveted spring collection bag currently being examined by another customer. Taking charge of the situation, he turned to address a specific individual, a challenging glint in his eyes. "Halting us?" he began, the question laden with confidence. "Well, let me show you the difference between—" He allowed the comparison to hang in the air, a subtle threat perhaps, before swiftly shifting his focus and directly addressing the person as Brother Junkai. His next words, delivered with an almost casual air, were a clear setup. "Someone's birthday is coming up." Brother Junkai, caught off guard by the abrupt change of topic, responded with a bewildered query. "Birthday? Didn't we just celebrate your birthday?" A wry smirk undoubtedly touched Chen Yuan's lips as he clarified the situation with a dismissive wave. "That was the lunar birthday. I still have the solar birthday." The statement hung in the air, an unmistakable hint of an impending demand, clearly a maneuver to secure the elusive item. A man's voice cut through the air, tinged with a blend of suspicion and a plea for sincerity. "Listen, Shiltong, you know I don't like girls who are too materialistic. You didn't get together with me because of money, right?" he probed, awaiting her response. Meanwhile, a different interaction unfolded, perhaps just an arm's length away or observed by an unseen protagonist whose unique ability tracked social dynamics. Someone offered a resolution to a delicate situation, interjecting with a simple, "Sorry, I'll take this bag if you don't buy it." As if on cue, an internal system sprang to life for the protagonist, registering the impact of the gesture. XU Lella's favorability plus 20, then again, XU Lella's favorability plus 20. The system efficiently tallied the outcome, declaring, "This is the power of money. 1 increased by 60 points. The calculations continued, revealing a promising trajectory. At this rate, buying a few more bags, and XU Lella will reach the threshold. But despite the success in gaining favorability, a slight dissatisfaction flickered through the protagonist's mind. But the amount of cashback is too little, he mentally noted, a clear sign his system operated on a unique economy. Elsewhere, perhaps in another corner of the same bustling shop, a conversation between an employee and a manager inadvertently touched upon the very paradoxes of wealth and appearance. "Sally," the manager began, sensing her employee's bewilderment, "I don't understand.
Why do some people who look like rich second generations pinch pennies with their girlfriends while others who seem ordinary spend tens of thousands without blinking an eye? The season manager then imparted a valuable lesson, reinforcing the idea that superficial judgments often miss the mark. So the manager taught us not to judge people with colored glasses. Spending power should not be judged solely by appearance.
As the interaction unfolded, Sue Lely's delight was palpable. Her eyes gleamed with triumph, an unspoken thought echoing in her mind. Indeed, bags are like boyfriends. The ones you snatch are the best to use. Her gaze fixed on the generous man, a new ambitious resolve solidifying within her. Elsewhere, another observer, keenly watching the lavish display of wealth, felt a surge of opportunism. I must seize this big fish, she thought, already formulating her own plan. Sue Lely, now completely won over, threw herself into an embrace, her voice overflowing with exaggerated gratitude. "Thank you, husband! Husband is so good!" she gushed, clutching his arm possessively. The scene drew numerous glances, perhaps from the manager who'd only moments ago imparted a lesson about not judging spending power by appearance, or from the boyfriend who'd questioned Shiltong's materialism. Amidst the swirling reactions and the triumph of the moment, a voice, tinged with a mix of resignation and surprise, quietly muttered, "Chen Yuan, gone you've too." Following Sue Lely's exuberant declaration and possessive embrace, the man internally reflected on the dramatic scene, a wry "too much" passing through his mind, accompanied by a knowing "hee-hee." He recognized that despite the recent success, with Lin Shitong on his radar now, he still had a long way to go. His internal system, ever present, immediately presented him with a new objective: binding licking dog relationship number 2. The detailed profile of his next target, Lin Shitong, appeared. Her height, weight, and look score were displayed, followed by a crucial detail. Her current favorability towards him stood at a challenging -10 points. The system then elaborated on the rules of engagement, clarifying that once a girl's favorability surpassed 95 points, the counterattack would be deemed successful, transforming her into his lickin' dog. A successful outcome promised enticing rewards, a percentage of licking dog coins, and valuable enhancement points. Unaware of these intricate internal mechanics, Sue Lely, utterly delighted by his generosity and her perceived victory, pulled back slightly, her gaze fixed on him with adoring satisfaction. Satisfied now? Did I perform well? Just where should we go next? Her question hung in the air, a soft, eager repetition of where, underscoring her readiness to follow him anywhere.
The man, responding to Shulele's eager question, dismissed her initial delight with a wry grin, declaring that of course they would continue shopping. He teased her, asking if she truly believed she'd be satisfied with just a single bag, subtly urging her to desire more. With that, their extravagant retail journey truly commenced. They swept through the high-end mall, moving from one opulent section to another, their presence marking a trail of potential purchases. Finally, they came to a stop amidst a vast collection of luxurious items. With a decisive gesture, the man surveyed the array, pointed out just 2 items he didn't want, and then, with an air of absolute command, instructed the staff to pack everything else and simply swipe his card. The deferential staff immediately confirmed their compliance, assuring him that the considerable purchases would be delivered to his specified address shortly. As the transaction completed, an internal notification flashed. Shulele's favorability towards him had risen by another 5 points. The extravagant retail journey continued unabated, the man's card being repeatedly swiped as one luxurious item after another was added to their burgeoning collection. Each significant transaction visibly boosted Shulele's favorability towards him, another 5 points registering with every successful purchase. This cycle of lavish spending and escalating approval played out multiple times, underscoring the boundless extent of his generosity and their ever-growing accumulation of high-end goods. Eventually, as the sheer volume of their acquisitions began to seem almost overwhelming, the man paused.
He turned to Shulele, a wry smile playing on his lips, and inquired if she had finally acquired enough, remarking that if they bought any more, the sheer quantity of items simply wouldn't fit in his current arrangements. Before she could even fully process his observation, he casually dismissed the logistical challenge he had just posed. "Can't fit?" he reiterated, shrugging off the problem with an air of complete nonchalance. "It's okay, I'll buy you a house."
Shulele's composure visibly wavered, her words tumbling out in a flustered stream. Isn't good. You've already spent a lot, and it's our first meeting. You're so extravagant. I was just joking." Her internal assessment of him took a hit, her favorability dropping 5 points. Observing her sudden unease, the man internally wondered if he had truly scared her. He reflected, finding common ground with her reaction. Indeed, offering millions for a house casually, I'd feel uneasy too. As he considered her, perhaps accessing a comprehensive summary in his mind, he noted the details of Shulele. A junior in the art college, 21 years old this year, standing 165 centimeters tall and weighing 49 kilograms. Her favorite color was black, and she loved Korean cuisine. She was a Capricorn, or a shoe size of 37, enjoyed watching horror movies, but confessed to being most afraid of walking alone at night. Turning back to her, a genuine sincerity in his eyes, he offered an explanation for his seemingly over-the-top gestures. "If I didn't really like you, why would I be so impulsive?" Before she could fully process his words, he shifted his attention, addressing a store employee who was passing by. "Miss," he began, "do you have a membership card?" Then he laid out a directive for the future. "When this young lady comes to your store, just recommend the latest styles directly to her." The employee, recognizing his clear authority and importance, promptly replied, "Certainly, sir. Please wait," and hurried off to assist.
The man, maintaining his sincere expression, offered further reassurance, suggesting that if he had truly startled her, he wished to present her with a gift. Internally, Yuzaleli's heart began to pound a rapid, insistent rhythm in her chest. Leaning closer, his gaze intense, he then audaciously declared that if she felt a sense of guilt, her offering of herself would be more than enough. This bold proposition immediately sparked a flush of anger and embarrassment on Yuzalele's face, and she snapped back, demanding he cease his nonsensical talk and labeling him a scoundrel. Despite her fiery retort, a curious system notification confirmed that Yuzalele's favorability towards him had, against all appearances, surged by 30 points.
Despite his unassuming appearance, an external observer remarked on the protagonist's surprising generosity and consideration towards Zulele, concluding that they must be falling in love. The observer further mused on the undeniable advantage wealth provides in the art of flirting, suggesting that a rich person's approach yields entirely different results compared to a less fortunate individual. Zulele, clearly taken aback by the extent of his purchases for her, then voiced her concern, asking if he didn't wish to acquire anything for himself. The man simply stated he didn't need anything, which immediately prompted Zulele to declare that it was now her turn to present him with a gift. As she made her offer, the protagonist silently strategized, affirming his belief that to successfully catch a big fish with a long line, one cannot merely demand, but must also give appropriately in return. The scene continued with the subtle exchange as Zulele prepared to fulfill her promise of a gift.
True to her word, Shulele insisted on finding a gift for him, perhaps already having an item in mind or pressing him to consider a choice. As she finalized her selection, a quiet sense of satisfaction washed over her, subtly increasing her positive perception of him. Yet the true surprise and the most significant boost to her impression arrived moments later. He had changed into the new attire she had so thoughtfully acquired, and the transformation was immediate and striking. This guy, Shulele mused inwardly, her gaze lingering on his new appearance, after dressing up is unexpectedly The unspoken compliment hung in the air, translating into another surge of favorability towards him. The atmosphere between them shifted perceptibly, now imbued with a fresh layer of admiration and connection, a clear indication of her growing regard for him.
As the day drew to a close, Shu Lele mused aloud to Chen Yuan, a touch of self-consciousness in her voice, wondering if her current demeanor seemed strange. She confessed it was the first time in her life she'd had to put so much effort into her appearance and actions for a date, gratefully noting that at least she hadn't needed to spend a single kyorn. Chen Yuan, ever smooth, quickly reassured her, declaring that she didn't seem strange at all. On the contrary, he felt a strong sense of a perfect match between them. The sentiment clearly resonated with Shu Lele, who, moments later, bid Chen Yuan a heartfelt goodbye. "I'm very happy today, thanks, Brother Yuan," she chirped, a dreamy quality to her voice. "There were several moments where I felt like I was in love." Her words were music to Chen Yuan's ears, and as she departed, his system promptly updated. Current favorability with Shu Lele, 68. Just as Shu Lele disappeared from view, a new voice broke the quiet, announcing, "I'm back." Moments later, a friend appeared, scrutinizing Chen Yuan with a mix of surprise and amusement. "Oh my, Brother Yuan, what did you do all day? And what's with all this?" The implication hung in the air, a curious accusation about Chen Yuan's activities and perhaps his somewhat disheveled or overly content appearance after his successful endeavor.
Having finally offered a direct answer to his friend's earlier probing, Chen Yuan simply stated that he had spent the day on a date with Zhu Lele. His friend's reaction was immediate and incredulous, a scoff escaping him. "Come on," he exclaimed. "If you couldn't even handle Lin Sitong, do you seriously think you can pursue Zhu Lele? She's the undisputed beauty of the art department, Brother Four. Even if you end up getting dumped, you need to know your limits." He continued to press his advice, his tone increasingly insistent as he warned Chen Yuan that some things were simply beyond his control. Just as his friend delivered his cautionary lecture, a sharp notification abruptly materialized before Chen Yuan's eyes. It was from someone named Zavnov, and its message was accusatory. "Chen Yuan, if you truly dislike me, then let's unfriend each other." This sudden declaration sent a jolt through Chen Yuan. Internally, he reeled, aghast at the thought. "Are you trying to mess with my emotions?" he silently fumed. "If we unfriend each other, where do I go to boost my favorability? I'm counting on you to level up and make money." The unexpected interruption, though unseen by his friend, instantly threw Chen Yuan's focus entirely off the current conversation, replacing it with a fresh wave of panic about a system's crucial progression. Still reeling from his friend's disbelief and the immediate, threatening notification from Zronv, which he recognized as Lin Shitong, Chen Yuan's panic intensified. Losing this source of favorability was unthinkable. He was relying on her to level up and make money. As her accusatory message, "Chen Yuan, if you truly dislike me, then let's unfriend each other," materialized before his eyes, he internally rushed to reassure her, his mind racing with placating thoughts. "Dislike? How could that be? In my heart, you're always special." Before he could even process his own internal charm, her follow-up message appeared, explaining her dire circumstances. "Being with Huang Jinkai is not because I'm greedy for vanity, but because my mom is sick and needs 50,000 for medical expenses." Instantly, a new notification blazed across his vision. "You initiated a money transfer." A jolt of pure shock ran through Chen Yuan. "Damn, what the hell?" he exclaimed internally, bewildered by the spontaneous transaction his system had evidently executed. Meanwhile, on Lin Shitong's end, an identical notification had just popped up. She stared at the screen, utterly dumbfounded. "I just said it casually, and he actually transferred money?" Her mind reeled in disbelief. Who's so generous to transfer 50,000? Is it Brother Junkai? But almost as quickly as the thought formed, she dismissed it. "No way, it's not Junkai. He wouldn't even buy me a bag." Her eyes widened as the truth dawned on her. It's Chen Yuan. Chen Yuan sent it. The realization was so profound, it felt like a question echoing in her mind. "Chen Yuan?
Didn't you just break up with him today? Her thoughts spiraled further, incredulous. This average guy is actually so rich? A wave of self-doubt washed over her. Really? Misjudged? No, I have to clarify. As her perception of Chen Yuan dramatically shifted, a notification shimmered into existence for him, Lin Shitong's favorability, +5. Immediately, Chen Yuan's screen was barraged by a cascade of new messages. Lin Shitong's panicked inquiries were at the forefront. Chen Yuan, what do you mean? Where did you get so much money even today? With Shu Lele? Did you buy her a bag? What's your relationship? Are you some hidden rich second generation, are you? Amidst her frantic questions, other fragmented messages flashed across the screen, one mentioning eating Xiaobao Popk, and another humorously declaring, love disappears, right? The sudden influx of attention was overwhelming, a chaotic testament to the unexpected ripple effect of his recent actions.
Still reeling from the unexpected WeChat pay transfer and Lin Shitong's continuing deluge of frantic messages, Chen Yuan's screen flashed with her impatient query, "Don't you reply to the message? Have you slept?" Internally, he acknowledged her sharp intellect, thinking Lin Shitong's questions were too witty. He knew he can't be too hasty in his response, especially when it came to addressing her pointed accusations about Shu Lele. But even as he deliberated, a new, more strategic thought took root. Was there anywhere legal to extravagantly spend money on women? The sudden surge in Lin Shitong's favorability had been a powerful, undeniable signal. He quickly realized a promising avenue. He could also try it on a live broadcast platform. Without hesitation, he navigated to a popular streaming site, immersing himself in the bustling world of online entertainment. On screen, a streamer named Xiaomir was actively engaging her audience, her voice a clear prompt. There's only 1 hour left before Xiaomir goes off the air. Brothers who want to send gifts should hurry up. The chat, with 800,000 people online and 190 million popularity, scrolled by in a chaotic stream of comments. Viewers expressed everything from adoring praise like, "My wife is so beautiful," to humorous self-deprecating anecdotes and desperate pleas, such as one bold declaration, "Xiaomir, I want to be your number one. Is that okay?" Chen Yuan absorbed it all, the possibilities unfurling before him.
As Chen Yuan continued to observe the bustling live stream, the chat scrolled relentlessly, a vibrant tapestry of fan adoration and competitive declarations. Viewers clamored for attention, with one bold user, Lonely One Cigarette, declaring his ambition to be Xiaomir's #1 fan. Others chimed in, some offering pledges to top the gift list, while a more pragmatic voice reminded everyone that Xiaomir had previously ranked 5th with over 1 million yuan in gifts, advising viewers to work hard instead. This sentiment was echoed by burning pigeons, who scoffed at the mention of 1 million, claiming they'd stand on their head if someone could even spend 100,000. Amidst the chaos, some joked about the financial implications, asking if this spending was akin to cheating on food and drinking. Taking in the full scope of the financial exchange, Chen Yuan's thoughts solidified. Over 1 million. Spending this money is much faster than buying bags. I've come to the right place. The realization dawned on him. This platform was precisely the extravagant yet legal avenue he sought for spending large sums. A moment later, Xiaomir's bright voice cut through the stream, her gratitude evident. "Thanks to Lonely Cigarette Brother for the rocket. Love you," she chirped, her popularity value holding strong at 190. The chat instantly reacted to the grand gesture, with excited exclamations filling the screen. 100 rockets? That's 1 million! The sheer scale of the gift, 100 rockets equating to 1 million, perfectly underscored the platform's potential for immediate and significant spending. As the live stream continued, the chat erupted in a cacophony of stunned exclamations and humorous self-deprecation. Messages like, "Pinnacle of charm on earth," "Father and son punish themselves with 3 glasses of wine," flashed across the screen, alongside cries of, "I am wrong, I am a rich man," and "I am blind." One user even jokingly implored Kakarot to leave, declaring themselves the prince, while another lamented, "Father, look, they are truly underestimating me."
The sheer scale of the previous gift had clearly overwhelmed the viewers. Amidst the chaos, a new message from Lonely One Cigarette cut through the noise, a stark declaration of his intent. Let me give you a little more monetary. Moments later, an astonishing quantity of 900 gifts, presumably more rockets, filled the screen, dwarfing the previous display. The stream's chat instantly exploded with renewed fervor. Excited, barely decipherable shouts like "Cigarette Lonely" and "Little Rocket Happy" flooded the feed, punctuated by exclamations of "Something happened!" The unprecedented scale of the spending sent ripples of disbelief through the audience. The magnitude of the gesture was quickly tallied, with a clear summary appearing: Shao Myers just spent 10 million at once. The unbelievable sum dropped in a single, massive transaction left no doubt about the immense financial power at play.
The news of the colossal gift rippled through the streamer's lounge, immediately sparking questions and disbelief among the staff. "Isn't that our guy?" someone exclaimed. A voice quickly followed. 10 million? Is he laundering money? The urgency was palpable. A frantic shout pierced the air. "Hurry, Cigarette! Hurry! Him! Lonely! Extraordinary message! Quickly, private!" The fact that one person had just casually spent 10 million in Xiaomir's channel was almost unfathomable. The streamer, overwhelmed, could barely process it. They felt a sudden, profound shock, as if someone had just spent in a single moment what most people earned over months. A flurry of private messages buzzed, but the streamer's mind was fixated on one thought. Am I not dreaming? Did someone just spend 10 million on me? Suddenly, a sharp, "Ouch! Dum-dong!" escaped the streamer's lips as a hand, likely that of their manager, grabbed them, jolting them back to reality. The manager's voice was firm, almost in order. "Secure a Lonely Cigarette! Make sure he's yours to keep!" The incentive was clear, a significant increase in commission. "Your commission increases by 10%! The streamer, now composed and resolute, scoffed slightly. With such a big benefactor, how could I ever let him go to other streamers?"
Following her manager's stern command to secure the wealthy benefactor, Xiaomier, now composed, swiftly addressed her anonymous donor. "Thanks for the rocket, Brother Lonely Cigarette," she announced, her voice tinged with both gratitude and a hint of urgency. "Brother, can you send me a private message? I'll give you a moderator role." Her plea hung in the air, but as the moments ticked by, her concern grew. A system warning about trusting strangers and sharing personal information momentarily flashed across the screen, a stark reminder of the digital divide. Undeterred, Xiaomier continued, her voice growing more desperate. Brother Yan, are you still there?" she called out, perhaps shifting from the Lonely Cigarette moniker to a more personal address. "Brother Yan, I have 5 minutes left to broadcast. I sent you a private message. Please reply to the private message." The broadcast concluded without a definitive response from the elusive benefactor. The next day, the online world was abuzz. News feeds were flooded with headlines about the mysterious event that had transpired the previous night. "A mysterious rich man appears," screamed one headline, while another exclaimed, "A crazy night! Who spent 10 million on a live app?" The sheer scale of the gift was evident in other trending topics. 500,000 in an hour, and a shark reward of 5 million. The buzz even highlighted Ukexin City's top 3 and mentioned Brother I, indicating the widespread ripple effect of such a colossal sum being spent on a live stream. It was clear that the anonymous Lonely Cigarette's colossal generosity had captured the internet's attention, making him, and implicitly Xiaomier's channel, the talk of the town, even as his identity remained a complete mystery.
The online world continued to reel from the shockwaves of Lonely Cigarette's astonishing display of wealth. Forums and social media buzzed with disbelief and envy. One person exclaiming, "He's really rich! In my hometown, you could buy a dozen houses with that kind of money. I wish I had that money." Another commented, "You'd laugh if I told you I could barely afford 1 million myself." Such was the scale of the previous night's expenditure, an event that had firmly captured the internet's imagination.
Meanwhile, the man at the center of the storm, the elusive Brother Yun, known to Xiaomir as Lonely Cigarette, was grappling with a different kind of post-event reality. His thoughts were consumed by a profound sense of disappointment. I spent so much money yesterday, he mused internally, a frown creasing his brow, and Xiaomir didn't even bind the relationship? He pondered the concept of this relationship binding, a term that seemed to hold significant meaning for him. Could it be that the relationship binding, he continued, a dawning realization perhaps, must happen in person, in real life? Did I waste this money then? His phone buzzed incessantly, a testament to the chaos he had inadvertently unleashed. The screen displayed over 99 private messages, a deluge from various hopefuls and opportunists. One read, "Brother Yun, am I a good little girl? Can you get to know me?" Another, more direct, stated, "28-year-old divorced young woman, looking forward to meeting you." And yet another offered a string of personal statistics, 19, 36D, 172, GK available offline. Other messages poured in from fellow streamers. Brother, come to my live broadcast room, I'm waiting for you." Amidst the clamor, a familiar plea echoed Xiaomir's desperate calls from the previous night. "Brother Yun, why don't you reply? I sent you a private message." As he scrolled through the overwhelming number of notifications, a sigh escaped him. So many private messages. Did I stir up a hornet's nest? Suddenly, he heard voices from nearby. "Ah, super exciting," one chirped. Another urged, hurry, it's late, there won't be any good spots left." Brother Yun looked up, surprised by their sudden movement. "Huh? What are you three up to? Why didn't you take me?"
Brother Yan, his mind still reeling from the digital aftermath of his astonishing display of wealth and his lingering disappointment over Xiaomir, finally tore his gaze from his incessantly buzzing phone. He had just voiced his annoyance at being left behind by his three companions when one of them quickly clarified their urgency. "Of course we're going to class. Today is the 4 general course, and we can appreciate the goddess Zhao Yuqi there," the friend explained, then promptly shifted to chiding Brother Yan for his slowness. "You take too much time to get ready for class. If we took you with us, we'd arrive after class." Impatiently, another chimed in, "Stop blabbering. Are you coming or not? Hurry up." The mention of the name, however, seemed to cut through Brother Yan's lingering thoughts. "Zhao Yuqi?" he murmured, a newfound intrigue sparking in his expression.
At Lake University, Zhao Yuqi was the undisputed dream of every male student, radiating as the campus flower and holding the esteemed position of vice president of the student union. Her accomplishments were as numerous as they were impressive. She held a grade 10 mastery in piano, led the ballet troupe as its chief, and was recognized as a second-level athlete. Yet this formidable combination of outstanding talent and breathtaking beauty made her an intimidating figure, difficult to approach despite her widespread admiration. For 3 years, she had stood as Lake University's unique and independent beauty, a solitary peak that remained utterly unattainable. Amidst the ongoing awe, some voices drifted, wondering about a certain handsome new face, while others, with a more pragmatic cynicism, mused that someone so extraordinarily hard to pursue must surely promise a considerable return for all the effort and emotional investment. The attention of onlookers snapped to Chen Yuan, who, after only a few days apart, looked remarkably handsome, prompting immediate speculation. Had he specifically dressed up for Lin Shutong? Lin Shutong herself, caught in the sudden spotlight, wrestled with an internal conflict, acknowledging her existing relationship with Jane Kai, even as her heart felt a profound confusion. As this charged moment hung in the air, a conflict erupted among those observing. Almost immediately, Lin Shutong's favorability surged, marked by multiple increases in quick succession. Witnessing this scene, a male voice, filled with cynical disdain, muttered that it was a superficial woman who could gain so much favorability simply by someone changing clothes.
His thoughts, however, quickly pivoted to a far more formidable challenge, a strategic contemplation on how to truly bind Zhao Yuqi.
Come, see how this plays out. An unspoken invitation seemed to hang in the air, a precursor to the confident declaration that followed. The self-assured male voice, previously filled with cynical disdain and now focused on a new conquest, declared with undeniable swagger, "You guys watch. See how I make her infatuated with me? Go, go, go! Boss must win!" True to his boast, he wasted no time, immediately addressing someone with an overfamiliar yet confident plea. "Baby, add me on 4CI!" This bold overture was met with an immediate, incredulous interjection from an unseen party, demanding, "Hey, what are you trying to do?" But the man was unfazed, smoothly pressing his case. "Just add me on WeChat. Let's get to know each other and be friends. Little you." His casual endearment wrapped a seemingly innocent request around his more calculated intentions.
The self-assured male, his previous bold overture to baby still echoing, quickly pivoted to a feigned innocence when confronted. He meekly explained that it was all a misunderstanding, claiming he merely wished to join the student union, and since Zhao was its vice president, he had simply wanted to make an inquiry. But his flimsy excuse was immediately met with derision from an unseen party who scoffed, "Come on, haven't you seen him picking up girls? He's so slick." Another voice attempted to mediate, urging, all right, calm down," only to be met with an angry retort, "He made me so angry." Yet, amidst this escalating tension, a new voice cut through, ignoring the commotion and directly addressing Yu Qi, declaring, "Classmate Yu Qi, I want to add you on." A wave of palpable frustration emanated from Zhao Yuqi, or perhaps her exasperated roommate, who couldn't help but inwardly wonder if Yuchi's apparent scheming was the cause for this endless parade of suitors. As a silent thought screamed the obvious question, would this ever end? Onlookers were buzzing with commentary, whispering about the day's bizarre events. "What's happening today? So much. Is it okay?" Another remarked, "This guy is really brave. He's practically offering his face to be stepped on." A third chimed in, incredulous, "Who gave the chubby guy the courage?" Just as the general murmurs began to subside, a new figure stepped forward, catching everyone's eye. He was notably more handsome than the last suitor, and echoing the now familiar tactic, approached Yuqi directly, inquiring, "Do you also want to join the student union?" The newly arrived handsome suitor, echoing the clumsy pretense of the last, had just started to inquire if Yuki also wished to join the student union. But his attempt at a smooth opening was swiftly cut short by a skeptical voice that immediately challenged him. "Then why do you want Yuki's attention?" Without missing a beat, the suitor abandoned any facade of innocence. A confident smirk touched his lips as he simply retorted, "Isn't it obvious?" He then made his intentions unmistakably clear, his voice ringing out with a bold, direct statement, "I want to pursue her." His blunt admission left no room for misinterpretation, laying bare his true purpose amidst the ongoing spectacle.
The suitor's bold declaration that he intended to pursue Yuki hung in the air, immediately drawing a mixture of reactions. One observer registered his brazenness with a surprise, almost impressed in her thought, "Wow, this guy is..." At the same time, another, more cynical mind scoffed internally at his apparent belief that he could truly get her contact details so easily. But a skeptical voice immediately cut in, predicting his downfall with dismissive certainty. "Just watch," it declared. "He's so confident now, but he'll be crying miserably." A beat of charged silence followed, the challenge and the prophecy hanging heavy in the atmosphere. Undeterred, the suitor, Chen Yalan, simply nodded and, with an air of absolute control, declared, "All right." He then rattled off his contact information. He seemed to believe this would be the decisive next step in his conquest. But before anyone could process his move, a sharp, pointed question cut through the moment, directed at another student nearby. "Hey, Shutong," someone asked, their voice laced with curiosity and perhaps a touch of accusation. "Isn't Chen Yulon your pursuer? Is there something going on between you two?" The unexpected query immediately cast a shadow over Chen Yulon's straightforward intentions, introducing a sudden, complicated layer to the unfolding romantic drama.
The belief that the desire for beauty was inherent in everyone and thus should never be hidden seemed to underpin the unfolding drama. After all, the simplest approach was often the most effective. As long as she was a woman, who wouldn't like being pursued? A cynical thought, or perhaps a system's cold calculation, projected the ultimate goal: a successfully bound licking dog relationship with Zhao Yuqi clearly identified as the binding target. Despite the recent query that had unexpectedly complicated his straightforward intentions, suggesting a prior entanglement with Shutong, Qin Yulan's immediate circle seemed to celebrate his initial success. "This trip was finally not in vain, Fizan," exclaimed Mexa, turning to him with an expectant look. Yuan quickly chimed in, equally enthusiastic. "You did great today. You actually got Zhao Yuqi's contact. And you've changed a lot recently, like a person, but still, The sentence trailed off, leaving the implication hanging in the air. Riding the wave of their excitement, Yuanzi then leaned in conspiratorially. "If you manage to win Zhao Yuqi, can you introduce some sisters to us?" But to their surprise, Qin Yilan responded with an uncharacteristic humility. He gave a slight shrug, a faint, almost modest smile playing on his lips. "Well," he demurred, "it's just wishful thinking. She's the campus flower and I'm just me. You guys are exaggerating."
Scoffed one of his friends, cutting through Chen Yilan's feigned modesty with a cynical edge. "At least you, as a loser, know your place." Another quickly chimed in, their voice laced with mock approval. "Kid, you've got some sense." The sarcasm continued to build. "Indeed," the first voice resumed, "willingly accepting humiliation is your expertise. I'll learn from you in the future." As the taunts intensified, a nervous whisper rippled through the onlookers, wondering if Lao Si's increasingly arrogant remarks were trying to start a real group fight. Chen Yilan, his composure finally snapping, glared back. "Say one more thing," he seethed, his voice low and dangerous. "You're just a blind cat bumping into a dead mouse. What are you proud of?" Immediately, his companions scrambled to intervene, their voices overlapping in a chorus of calming pleas. "Boss, calm down, boss." But another, clearly annoyed by the sudden outburst, simply remarked with a dismissive tisk, "So childish."
Just as the heated exchange reached its boiling point, a new presence emerged, completely shifting the atmosphere. A playful yet impatient voice cut through the air, chastising someone named Brother Ewan for being incredibly slow, having kept them waiting for an unconscionably long time. As Brother Ewan internally grappled with this reprimand, his gaze, and indeed the attention of many others, was instantly drawn to the newcomer, Shu Lalel from the art college. She was not just any student. She was a well-known figure, ranked 144 on the campus beauty list, and infamous by her suggestive nickname, Straight Guy Slayer. Witnessing her arrival, Brother Ewan was immediately smitten, a cascade of self-recrimination washing over him for daring to make such a beauty wait. He yearned for an opportunity to atone, perhaps by inviting her somewhere. However, Shu Lalel's attention wasn't on him. Instead, she turned to Chen Yilan, her tone light and charming as she sought his approval, asking if her outfit looked good, attributing its stylishness entirely to his generosity in purchasing it for her. Chen Yilan, his previous fury now completely forgotten, responded with an easy, flattering smile. He smoothly redirected the compliment, asserting that while clothes certainly looked good, it was the bag she carried that truly looked best on her. Shulalel, her eyes widening slightly, took his words seriously, directly asking if he truly meant it. Without a moment's hesitation, Chen Yilan emphatically reassured her, declaring his sincerity to be even more real than real gold.
The scene pulsed with the energy of Chen Yilan and Shi Li, flirtatious exchange, leaving Brother Yuan utterly bewildered. A torrent of self-doubt crashed over him, his mind screaming in anguish. He simply didn't understand. What was he lacking? Where did he fall short? He couldn't grasp it. Where was he lacking? As he wrestled with this spiraling self-recrimination, his attention was momentarily snagged by a palpable sense of injustice radiating from someone nearby. Darn it, he thought, who could possibly be feeling more wronged than him right now? The answer, though unspoken, was clear in the furious mental monologue of another young woman in the crowd. Her mind raged with indignation. Why should she? She had clearly been here first. What did that woman think she was? Just waltzing in and taking over everything? Her fury was a palpable thing, fueled by a potent, unfulfilled desire.
If you want the next part to continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I'm waiting for your support. Thank you.